morning or good afternoon, everyone. We're so glad you could join us here today, November 29th, for our November User Group Webinar. And we've got a great set of topics to cover this morning. And of course, I got my great sidekick with me, Helen.
Hey, good morning. I say good morning, good afternoon, everybody.
Great, exactly. So we're going to get started real quick here. And because we've got a lot of material, one of the things that I wrestle with is we have so much to tell you. And as Helen and I meet with customers all throughout the month, a lot of topics come up, and we want to kind of cover all of those, but that's too much. So we're not going to do that. So bear with us, and we're just going to have a good time here today, reviewing a lot of material. And here's the first thing that we're going to cover, some digital marketing trends, as usual. We're going to talk about the new release that came out in October as well, because about 50% of you guys on the call today weren't on last month, so going to do a really quick recap. And then we're going to introduce a new segment here on our talk show, DeepTarget Talk Radio, called Helen's Hints. So that got requested earlier this week by one of our great customers out there, Y12 Nancy Brooks, saying, I wish Helen would give us some insight. And so she's going to do that just for you, Nancy, and everybody else. And then we're going to look at a great case study that we're really excited about. We want to thank our guest, our secret case study client who's on the call, but we're not going to pull her in at this point. But and then, of course, we're going to award the Ad of the Month winner and the Digital Marketing Superstar. So let's get right into it. Right, Helen?
That's right.
Great. Thank you. So first of all, let's look at industry trends. So I know all of you guys are deep in your holiday marketing campaigns, so I just want to bring this back up. This is a great discussion. In fact, you can read it here based on the link that we have down at the bottom, 62 tips and strategies for successful holiday marketing campaigns. We just pulled out those 4 just as a reminder. Make your offers very exclusive, personalize your holiday experience, put emphasis on customer loyalty, and wow your customers and make them remember your brand. So this all dovetails together in a way that I'll describe out of this context, this article that comes from actually a Connected Consumer published article from Salesforce that says 66% of consumers say they're extremely or somewhat likely to switch brands if they feel like a person rather than a number. So they'll switch to you if they feel like a person. So in fact, 55% say that they expect companies to send them personalized offers. 58% say it's absolutely critical that they provide a personalized experience. And 52% say they'll switch if it's not really that personal. So the points here are: be timely with your engagements, be relevant in what you're offering them, and of course, as always, add excellent service. So what does that really mean? So I want to remind you guys, I think most of you guys are on top of this in selected campaigns, but be very strategic on your targeting. So we can help you with those rules, certainly, to be very segmented about how you pursue them, but then also look at prepending the first name of each of your members on those ads. So our call to action to you guys is to personalize and prioritize. We'll talk about that in a second. So just remember, when you go in to create your banner, whatever channel you're utilizing, online banking, mobile, email, or in some cases web coming up here, we have this segment down here where you can add the name, first name of your customer or member directly. And it can look like this. So it calls out the person's name, and this is extremely important to millennials to feel like that they're a person that you're reaching out to. Right?
That's right.
Okay, great. We want to remind you that there's a science and art of digital marketing as well. So if you're engaging, then you're going to retain them. And we at DeepTarget take the first 3 very, very serious about targeting the fields, the analytics, the frequency, and we're doing a lot of things here we'll talk about more in a minute. But also, it's up to you guys to figure out the timing, the graphic, the promotional offer, and messaging. And we're really big on doing generational, to some degree, some generational targeting, especially for millennials. But the point I want to make here is the ad content is becoming more and more critical, right, Helen?
Mm-hmm.
And Helen's hints are going to play a role in that in just a minute. So we're excited about what she's going to show you as well. So the last article I want to bring to your attention actually comes from Digital Marketing Institute. Article earlier this year, 7 key ingredients of a successful digital marketing strategy. This is the 4th one. There are 7, but I pulled this one out and I highlight this segment which says, what makes for truly effective outreach and engagement is your ability to tell a story. So I don't know if you guys have been following some of the stuff that's going on with YouTube and the video advertising and so forth, but just recently, YouTube has requested all of their primary influencers to create a 6-second or less video. And they're finding that 6 seconds is about enough time to capture attention, but it's also to tell a story. So they've asked their influencers to tell a story in 6 seconds. So you know that DeepTarget has the ability to have animated GIFs, has the ability to do HTML5, which introduces video. So you have all the tools ready for you to do that, but you can also tell a story in just one image. And I'm going to give you a precursor of a simple, if you will, ad that quickly tells a little bit of story. And it's kind of a play on flexibility, but let us help you increase your financial flexibility. And so that's a really good eye-catching thing. Everybody's now thinking about top of mind fitness and that sort of thing. And I just love this ad. And Helen created it for your viewing pleasure, right?
Well, one thing about this particular ad, when I look at it, I like the image, but it also has fun. You can use that for, to like play on words for financial flexibility, but also it's a calming feel. So,
right.
You want your customers to feel comfortable and engage, with
right.
you as a community. So,
right.
That's a, part of it is a feel.
That's
well
right. And then what if you had right here at the top of this infused into it Stephanie or Nancy? Let us help you increase your financial flexibility. To personalize it adds that extra bit of engagement. Okay, so guys, think about that because ad content is becoming more and more relevant today, and we can help you with it. In fact, Helen's going to talk a little bit about that. Okay, so great. Let's talk about the product release. For those of you guys that weren't on the call last month, let's just review a few things real quick. October 8th, we released the new release, and although the overall look and feel is the same, there's some incredible new capabilities. First and foremost is the NetTeller rotating banners. Now, everybody that had other OLB or mobile platforms already today deployed, you can use the rotating banners capability. It just didn't work. It took us a while to get that functioning on NetTeller. It's now working. We have a lot of clients that have jumped right on it, and we're going to remind you where you can set that parameter. You can build your own rules now, so you don't have to wait on us, and you can actually step into a rule build in the middle of a campaign that is currently published, change the rule, and go ahead with it. So a lot more autonomous control you guys have. Historical analytics we'll talk about. We've got several UI improvements, detargeting, again, and then the key impression indicator that shows up on the management report that we'll take a peek at as well. So just to jump right in, the NetTeller ad and banner rotation capabilities under settings, under multiple ad parameters, and we recommend that you do between 3 and 5 ads, between 5 and 7 seconds each. We know some of you guys have done more, and that's great.
And one thing to note, if you've got animated GIF files or you've got HTML files that have, that have an animation that take longer than 5 seconds, then you want to bump up that delay to a larger number so your animation will complete before it rotates to your next ad. Exactly.
Perfect. Thank you, Helen. We've already noticed a 50% in ad impressions related to this that's happened, and that's only been in 2 weeks. So for you guys, really think about turning this on. It really increases your impression count, and it actually provides more relevant offers to your customers and members. Okay, next just as a reminder on the build rule, when you're setting up your campaign, you can modify or create the rule here or over here on the flyout menu as well. And that gives you this menu, right, Helen?
That's right. And it'll come up and you'll be able to create your own rule. And mainly, you want to use this particular functionality if you have a more simple rule. If you've got something that's super complicated, you'll still want to do your submit rule request just like you've always done. But if you primarily have age-related or category-related rules, this is the quickest way for you to get this done, and you can create your own rule and publish it immediately. You don't have to wait for us.
That's right. That's right. And remember, it's real time, so you publish it within 5 seconds or so. It will be active, and then you can actually change it at the end of the week and so forth. So we're very excited about that. Also, this is my personal favorite for myself and actually Sagar on our team, who's our data scientist. It's the historical analytics. And now when you do a pull down of the campaign category analytics button under the reports, you can pick just those categories of products that you'd like to see. And in this case, we're just looking at home equity, auto loan, mortgage, consumer loan, how they're performing. And I can then quickly take a snapshot of that historically. So I've backed all the way up to January. I can look at that all the way through and see how they've performed over time. I can also limit that to only, so this totals all ads under home equity, all ads under auto loan, and brings that forward. But I could just pick one. And so let's just go up here. We're going to pick, well, we picked auto loan and consumer loan, and we're seeing how those two product categories compare historically all the way back to January. And then I can actually just pick, in this case, I've picked just consumer loan. And so the consumer loan then shows me the two consumer loan campaigns inside of this category and how they've performed with impressions and click-throughs over time. So this is, in my mind, extremely valuable. And when we do our case study here in just a minute, you're going to see this vividly put into practice. Okay?
And the beauty of this particular historical look back is before you could only do that on a campaign-by-campaign basis.
Right.
You had no way to aggregate all of your campaigns into a category and
Right.
take a look at those. So this allows you to do that now.
That's right. So we're really excited about that capability. Let me remind you that detargeting is available now. And what that means is you can set a parameter that says, I want this particular campaign to run 30 days. And at that point, I'm going to check and see if they've had at least 7 impressions. And if they have, and there's been no click, then I'm going to turn it off for 30 days. So these 3 parameters you can set and actually make the campaigns more relevant to your individuals. Yes. So some of you are already thinking, well, why can't DeepTarget just do that for me automatically? Well, yes, that came from our Customer Advisory Council immediately. So yes, we can. We're looking at in our next release actually providing you a suggested set of parameters here. So the parameters are set here under the campaign settings. If you click on detargeting, then you can fill out these parameters here. And then it's fully automated on its own. And we think it will have a very dramatic impact, and so much so that we've actually got a working group now working on it. We are generating reports internally to show you details of impression to click type analytics. And we have several of you guys that have already turned this on, and within 30 to 60 days, we'll be able to report back how that's performing. So if any one of you guys wants to turn on detargeting, please give me or Helen a call, and we'll run this report for you and get you guys started. Okay? All right, and then the last thing I want to talk about is the key engagement indicator that you guys know that's actually on the monthly management report today. It takes the unique users and or unique impressions shown. So in this example, 21,000 members saw at least one unique ad, and 1,200 of them clicked, and that key engagement indicator number is 18. So it's just literally dividing this number of unique users by the number of those, or other way around. Yeah, by the number of those who click, and getting an 18. This is a better way of recording and help. It's a little easier to understand. It took you on average 18 users to get 1 click last month, the previous month. And you can see it per channel as well. And so then we have a rating scale, and then we can also share with you where you rank against all of our other customers, and that's kind of interesting as well. So it gives you a peer type of report. Well, now we've introduced a key impression indicator, because impressions also have a dramatic impact on sales transactions. And so much of the industry has moved to just looking at impressions. And so we've now added that as a component to the report as well. In this example, 271 sales transactions were influenced by DeepTarget, meaning an impression was registered or a click, and it took, on average, 79, in this case, members or customers, to receive 1 sales transaction. So those are members or customers who had an impression and or click. If they had an impression, that could have driven a click, but it's based on impressions itself, okay? So, and we have a rating scale for that as well, and that shows up on your management report that you can then look at. And we're going to look at that as well, okay? And here's that new management report example that we were talking about, adding these 2 columns, which is your key impression indicator. So that helps you get a better understanding of how you're performing. If, in some cases, you're not getting as many click-throughs, but yet you're getting the impressions and sales transactions, that makes a big difference. Okay? So I've gotten a lot of good feedback on that. Also, one other aspect that we've pulled together is an ROI calculator. And so just to remind everyone, we have the ability, based on some numbers, and we can share this spreadsheet with you so that you can enter your results right off of your management report, so you have that detail, and do some calculations on estimated interest revenue, perhaps, for each of those, and come up with what exact revenue you achieved in the month of those sales and extending that for a 12-month period. So, and what's cool about that is we have an indicator up here based on our actual customer analytics. And this will tell you that based on 5,000 or less members, our average customers in this tier had 57 transactions. And this example outperformed that. Our average top 10 customers had 104, and our top performing customer had 141. So that just gives you some indicators of how well you can be doing and how well you are doing against the peer group as well. Okay, good? Great. So if you'd like to have this run or looked at it, especially kind of at the end of the year time frame, you might want to do this. This only does a 1-month look back, but we're looking at doing more than that. Let us know. Let me know, and we'll schedule a meeting with you to walk you through it. Okay? All right. So great. One last thing. We added the capability last spring for ADA compliance. And Helen, I know, does a few spot checks, right? And not all of you are adding this campaign description to the ADA, this ADA field, which is the American Disability Act for a person that is disabled and basically legally blind. When they hover over the ad on OB or mobile, it will read this statement, and that means you are compliant to ADA. So please remember to do that and put whatever description you want on that ad. Okay. All right. So now we've got Helen's hint. Hey, Helen, hey. Welcome aboard.
Well, this is a request from Nancy at Y12, and you know, a lot of you do your ad creation externally in something like Photoshop or Illustrator, so it's got more capabilities than obviously than the DeepTarget app does for creating ads. However, you know, a lot of you do a mix. Sometimes you want to get an ad out quick. You got an emergency thing to get out. You want to get out something for Veterans Day. You don't have time to get a graphics department if you outsource that to get something to you. I mean, you want to get something in there quick. So I just wanted to show you just a few little tips that you can use as you're creating ads, and to, you know, take advantage of the image library. You can access the image library in ad settings, and if you want to look at the images, you can look at that one that looks like a little the old mountains there that are circled, and it'll bring up the image library. And we've organized this with, different categories. We have like animals and people and auto and things like that. But we've really put a lot of images and backgrounds and in the people category, so you can take advantage of those. So a lot of these backgrounds might be things like denim or ice or stone or things like that. You can put your own graphics, you can put your own logos and things like that on top of it. The most important thing is be fun, have some fun and be creative about it. And, you as a marketing individual, you directly impact what's going on there with your customers and your members. Right. I mean, it's your creativity is what's getting out to them. That's what's engaging them. But also, you're important to the bottom line. So you want,
that's right.
Really good ads
right.
out there. So let's go to the next one, David. All right. So I want to show you something. So this image on the left is an original image, and that's in our image library. And you can see it's kind of horizontal shape. But different people, depending on what online banking system they have or what mobile environment they're using, they have different shaped ads. So there's a way that you can use this original image and create different types of ads by focusing on different areas. So if you look on the right, these are some different ads. Some are like a mobile ad up at the top. That could be a mobile ad in the middle, and maybe an online banking ad at the bottom. And they each focus on different areas of that original image. Now I want to show you how to do that. So what you'll do is you'll choose an image from the image library. So that's selecting the little landscape background there. And then when you choose one, it's going to load it into the system, and it's going to do a best fit. So if you've got a vertical ad, it's going to try to do a best fit across. And if you've got a horizontal ad, it'll do the height is where it'll do a best fit. So you can see, I've done this orange in the background, so you can see that's the boundaries for the particular ad we're trying to create. But when it loaded in that image, you see it all, up there at the top. So how can I expand that and enlarge that? So by going and using the dials that are in the image settings section, you can expand and enlarge your image. So in this one, I made the height, instead of maybe it was 100 before, now it's 396. So I've expanded the height there. So you can make your image, it's a way to zoom in on your image. And then on the left dial, you can see it's not at 0. So it's not using the far left part of the image. It's moving all the way over in that image to kind of right before that square or the paint area, so you can see that you only want to focus on that image. So by using those dials, you can move into different areas. So it's kind of a cheap way to do a crop, if you will.
Right.
So, and one thing to note, you'll see values can be outside the banner boundary. So even if your banner, you've enlarged it to some monstrous size, it's only, when your banner is displayed, it's only going to show the size that within your banner boundary.
Right. Great.
Okay. And so, here's another one. I wanted to make sure that you knew how to do. We were creating some banners within for the DeepTarget splash page, and one of them was a holiday banner. And this particular image, if you look on the left, it had lights on the top and the bottom. And when I expanded and enlarged that image, it did not go all the way. It did go all the way across for the image, except by enlarging it, you didn't see the lights on the bottom. So I thought, what can I do, to make this look good? So what I did is I loaded the image in one time, and I focused up there on the top lights, and then I also loaded it in a second time, and I used the mirror button to flip it over so I could splice it together so that it looked like it had a little bit better connection there. And you can move your banners up and down just by using those dials. So by uploading the same image twice, mirroring one, and then kind of splicing them together by changing that left dial, I was able to look like I had one complete image.
That's right.
So that's just I didn't know, if most of you knew that you could do those types of things, but there are all different kinds of controls there in the image settings section that you can use.
Awesome. So
on to, kind of segue from what David had earlier, in this one image, let us help you increase your financial flexibility. These are some ads created from images in the image library, and I just enlarged them to just focus on certain areas. And these are more concept type ads.
Right.
Some of them have people, some don't. This one just has a mic. But things for consumer loans and investment and loan consolidation, you can use wording or just certain images that give you a feel that that make you, give you a sense of peace or whatever on your ads. So these are just some different ideas that you could use just by using some of the images in the image library. Now, of course, if you've got your own images, you could upload them and do this exact same thing with those.
That's right. So these three on the right make me feel like a millennial. Helen, thank you for that.
Oh, good.
I wish I was a millennial sometimes. I think Helen is a millennial most of the time. Okay, well, great, Helen. So that was Helen's hints for this week. We can't wait for Helen's hints next well. Hey, so we also want to remind you guys that we have a holiday loan. Well, it says holiday loan, but it's a holiday campaign contest, ad campaign contest, and we want you to be on fire because you could win an Amazon Fire if you submit your ad and we're selected. So we just need you to submit your ad by December 15th, and you have the chance. That's right, you can submit it to this email, which comes to Helen and I, success@deeptarget.com, and win yourself an Amazon Fire. We already have some campaign ads in, so brace yourselves. You're behind if you haven't submitted them. These are just a few. We've probably got about 15 in. And even a Halloween one kind of snuck its way in there, which we thought was really great.
It's a holiday.
So that's right. So get one in, and we'll let you know at the end of December at our next webinar who's the winner. Okay. And if you don't submit, we may just go out and pick yours anyway and throw it into the stash. Okay. So great. So now I'm really excited. Helen and I had a great time with the November case study. A lot of really cool things going on in this. So we want to thank, first of all, Mary McCormick and Stephanie Peltzer for allowing us to present this. They are First Financial Federal Credit Union of Maryland, and they're out of Lutherville's their main office. Mary is marketing communication specialist who's created most of the ads, but they have worked as a team to put all of this together, and we're going to dive into one particular product category. They are a billion-dollar asset firm, 7 branches, zillions of ATMs, 60,000 plus total members, OLB 25,000, and mobile 25,000. So let's dive into what they have been doing. So first of all, what brought our attention to Mary and Stephanie's implementation was they have had some really great results, obviously. We've done a look at just 5 categories here: credit card, consumer loan, auto loan, home equity, and bill pay. And these are the KEI, if you will, based on the click-throughs. This is how many members it took to get one click. So credit card, 12 members on average over this entire time period, 10 for a consumer loan, 10 for auto loan, 15 for home equity, and so forth. But just the vast majority of the credit card made us, Helen and I, really dive into what was going on here and see what they had done. So first, let's take a peek at the overall historical review of what's happened. So again, this is using our historical look back all the way back to April, and we wanted to see the mix of these categories and their totaling up the sums of their campaigns inside of each. And we noticed, first of all, that the credit card has run the entire time here. So that's really interesting. So they've never turned that on. However, they did turn auto loan on in June and let it run for a period. So there was obviously an auto loan promotion time here and then off. Bill pay came on for a period of time and got changed for a little while and then back on. And as we go forward, home equity got on and off. But then something happened on that credit card one. It had, towards the end of October, right, Helen? It just spiked. Now, There's a variety of reasons for that, but we'll play with it for a minute. But let's just understand this. That made us look at credit card a little closer. And don't forget about the impressions driving clicks here. So as the impressions hit a certain level, the clicks followed right directly along with it. So as they went down as they came on. So there is a definite correlation between impressions and responsiveness, which is really exciting. So let's take a closer look at inside the the credit card campaign. And if we go back, and now we're just looking at the credit card campaign all the way back to April, and we can see that in fact 5 campaigns total have been running, and we let it default to actually this week. A campaign was run here, one here, and then 2 more. So let's see what happened. First of all, Mary and team launched this mobile campaign stating over $700,000 has been given in cash rebates in 2017. So the impression level is super high, a lot of great click-throughs, so people wanted to learn more about how they could get these cash rebates from their credit card. So great response there. They turned that off at the 1st of July, and then they turned on, this is mobile, then they turned on an online banking credit card campaign, and it offered this 1% cash rebate, which had good impressions. But if you'll remember the other slide, there were a lot of other campaigns that came on board at this time as well. So the impressions weren't quite as high. Click-through pretty good, trailed off quickly. So Mary and company responded quickly with their next version of the campaign, pay off debt. So the to-do list, which we've seen a lot of, I really like these to-do lists. Pay off debt, FFFC, you can help, and impressions very high level, a lot of good responses to that. But then when the impressions clicks started to trail off, it's time to launch a new campaign. Mary and company went both full on, both with mobile and online banking with this ad, Card Craze Sweepstakes, 5,000 awarded monthly. What do you think millennials did with that? Ooh-wee, how do I get my chance to win $5,000 with this Card Craze? So phenomenal response to this. I want to point out that blue is actually the mobile. This teal is the online. The initial response on online banking was even dramatically higher than mobile. So that tells me a bunch of baby boomers like maybe me said, ooh, maybe I should jump in on that. So great responses overall, but that's not the end. That's your click-through. Mary and company did the right thing. This is it as a banner ad on their website. This is the landing page with more details. This is Facebook displaying it as well, and then of course both channels, online banking and mobile. So great coverage of the campaign. Helen, do you like that color?
I like that color. It's warm, but I like it. It looks like a game to me, and they've got some money on there, so that's appealing.
That's right. So remember Helen being a millennial. So great work on that. But now let's look at the sales transactions influenced by. Now, just remember, everybody, under your report section, there is a tab right at the top called Influence Conversions, and we do capture all sales transactions related to campaigns based on impressions or clicks, or both, and in this case, we're doing both. And this is, I've done a day view just for fun. Helen and I like this because why are these dips right here, Helen?
It's because the weekend.
That's exactly right. So during the weekend, the banks are closed, credit unions are closed. You're not transacting those days, but look at that over time. So from April 1st through the end of October, 1,766 sales transactions closed. That's all. But if you go up here and do a pull down, I can actually change that to credit card. Well, how did credit cards fare? Well, the direct impact to the to-do list and coming in on the actual Card Craze as well. So I don't show you the total yet because that's kind of cool. I just wanted to show you the graphic of the impact of that. And I wanted to show you, we flip over to a month view, and in October alone, they closed 311 credit card sales based on the campaigns that Mary and team have been running. I'll give you the total here in a minute, but that's absolutely phenomenal. Look at that trend line of sales transactions based on the credit card work. Here's the total over the entire period: 965 credit card accounts opened in total. Unbelievable job for Mary and Stephanie. A big round of applause, and thank you so much for allowing us to show that. Very impressive, and we've had some discussions now, and they're going to do some more things to actually up that more, right, Helen?
That's right.
So that's great. So it's awards time. It's time to celebrate. Good times. Come on. I was going to play some music, but Helen nixed that. So first of all, we want to congratulate Evie Tipton, because Evie Tipton, many of you may not have known, we ran a social media contest, and Evie won that online last week, and we're sending out to her an Amazon Fire already, and I know she was really excited about that. So her group can look at their DeepTarget ads while they're on a tablet, having fun with that. So Evie, congratulations to you on that. We'll continue to run other kinds of contests like that going forward, like the holiday ad contest. Don't forget that, everybody. The You Get Somebody's Name will be on here in December, right, Helen?
That's right.
Yeah. And
it'll be early Christmas.
I know. Helen tends to override some of my choices as well. But let's get right on to the ad of the month. Can you imagine who this is, Helen? It's First Financial. It's Mary and Stephanie, the ad winner of the month for the card trade work. Just in the month of October, KEI of 21, 36,000 impressions, 1,754 clicks. For those of you guys that really track click-through rate, look at that click-through rate for the month of October, almost 5%. Notice that online is actually a hair higher than mobile. That's crazy good. This is just a great campaign overall. So
it's card crazy good.
It's card crazy good. So who do you think wins our Digital Marketing Superstar of the Month? Oh my gosh, not again, but yes, Mary and Stephanie with the KEI of 23. That tells us, oh my gosh, that on average 23 of their users logged on clicked, but every 81 persons actually ended in a sales transaction. Overall, this is for the month of October, which, remember, credit cards played a big part of that. So fantastic work to everybody out there. One more round of applause for Mary and Stephanie. Great work. We'll get some plaques out to you, and thank you we know you're on the line. Thank you for all the great stuff that you guys are doing, allowing us to present it. With that, everybody, we're going to wish you guys super happy holidays. Please call us, reach out to us. We know it's a busy time, but Helen, aren't we here to help?
That's right. We're here to help, and we're going to have another webinar next month, aren't we?
That's right. At the end of the month, for those of you guys who make it the last week of the month, we're going to do a showcase of all the winners and pick the super, super winner for 2018. So thanks, everybody, for joining us today. Have a great day, and let us hear from you, and thank you for all you do. Bye-bye.
See you next month.